And I'm albino. In parts of East Africa, being born with my condition can be a death sentence. People with albinism are regularly attacked, abducted, and murdered. Their body parts are used in potions sold by witch doctors.
They just weakened the nerves by hitting him hard, and all the teeth were out.
Do they specifically want the teeth? Is that?
Yeah. It is something that is valuable, according to them.
In Britain, I work as a doctor and lead a normal life. I can't imagine what it's like to live in such fear. I wanted to find out why this is happening.
What do you think it says about the society in Tanzania that children like this are forced into isolation?
The society has to understand that this is not a good thing.
So this is the prison.
And what kind of person would murder someone like me?
Do you think it's okay to kill somebody for money? So why did you do it? Although they're pretty wonky, these are the same ones I've had since I was 13, and I've never once broken my glasses, which I think is amazing. Although actually, glasses have kind of come back round, haven't they? They're sort of a bit more cool these days. Not these ones, though.
I was first diagnosed with albinism when I was 6 weeks old. My parents aren't albino, but each carries the same faulty gene, which they passed on to me. It means I can't create a pigment called melanin. As well as giving skin and hair its colour, melanin plays a vital role in the retina, so my eyes don't work normally.
Rather than just being still, if you focus on something, they kind of wobble. Can you see that?
I've always considered albinism a disability and spent most of my life trying to ignore it. I even kept it a secret from my wife Ray when we first started dating.
Right, back in time. If I just put everything out kind of as I've got it, because otherwise I'm going to have no idea what I've got. I definitely had an issue about having albinism, and I didn't want it to get in the way of our relationship. I think that was the real truth.
And I guess for you, your albinism had never got in the way of anything in your life before. So you did whatever you wanted at school, you went to university to be a doctor, you'd become a doctor at that point.
And I do remember telling you
I remember exactly.
There were definitely tears from me.
Yeah, you cried.
Yeah, I did cry.
And actually, then you telling me was a huge relief, because I thought it was going to be something far worse.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, you had some horrible past, or, I don't know, you'd been married to some other, or like, I don't know.
And didn't it work out well? For now.
Yes.
2 years in.
Now Ray and I are thinking about having children. I've spent a lot... While superstition plays a big part in these murders, there's got to be more to it than just blind faith. Back in Lilongwe, the chief advisor to the president has allowed me entry to the notorious Maula prison. I'm going to meet one of the people being held on remand for the murder of Fletcher Messina. I'm finally able to go face to face with someone who can tell me why he murdered an albino.
So this is the prison?
Yes.
It doesn't look much like a prison. This is the administrative quarters. We're meeting in the deputy chief of the prison's office, because they're not keen for us to see commissioners inside the prison, so we can't go into the cells or anything like that. Hello.
Sir.
My name's Oscar.
Thank you, sir. My name's Malone.
Okay. I guess the first question has to be, why did you murder somebody with albinism?
Naida kurumidwa ndango ina mene anachita kuti panga kuti zimene zitike.
And did they promise you anything?
Nakalonjeza kuti ati pasandama kwana 40 million malayi kwacha.
And how many people were with you?
Now we want 7.
And they promised each of you 40 million kwacha?
And I did go on.
Do you mind telling me about what happened on the day of the murder?
Nango ndilimbikitsa kuti tiye tipite kumalo kumene ya malima. Ndinapita kumalo kuti ndikampeza munthu.
And then?
Panakali kanisa chokampeza munthu kuti ndikampanga chikulu chimene chinachitikasho.
I met with Fletcher's brother in the garden where the murder happened, and he explained to me that Fletcher had had different bits of his body cut off. Did you see that?
Yeah, naziona.
Why?
Watsikulo kunali kuimba foni. Nde akamaimba ana foni amauzo lino da mutengeza kuti ndizimene zofunika zinazo zilibe nchini. Nde zimenezo ndizimeneno amalumikizana kuti zichitike.
Do you think it's okay to kill somebody for money?
Yeah, sibwino.
So why did you do it?
Chifukwa chakuti nthawi nake zikamachitika ndi ukakhala kuti ukhungu kapena kuti satana akakubwerera suzindikira chimene ukuchita umakazindikira utalakwitsa kale ndiye mpamene umazindikira ndalakwitsa.
Do you believe in witchcraft?
Ndimakhulupirira.
That's it on that. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakaha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who I learned from. Shalom to the hopeful elect preaching his word in truth and sincerity. And to you ribs, and to you sisters out there learning silence and staying in order. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 9 and verse 4. And Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the man that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. Now, the reason why I bring that up is to show that Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai does put marks, signs on people for specific purposes, right? When we read in Deuteronomy 28 and 46 that the curses shall be on the Israelites for a sign and a wonder forever, so that we may identify each other, right, in the last days, because we're going to look different. Now, Esau himself has a particular mark on his own, right? And we're going to get into that because Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai had allowed this witchcraft to happen to Esau through the other nations, right? So that we know, so we don't forget, right, who he is. So there's no gainsaying, right? This is Genesis chapter 4 and verse 12. And when thou tillest the ground, just talk about Cain. It's after he killed his brother. It says, when thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength, and a fugitive and a vagabond thou shalt be on the earth, right? So the bottomless pit will be considered Europe, where they can't grow crops or anything like that, right? This is why they rob and steal and go to other nations to take things, right? So these are all indicators and markers, right? Verse 13. And Cain said unto Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, my punishment is greater than I could bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, right? And a lot of these people who had this so-called albinoism way back, were driven into the mountains and all these other things, right? They was always been driven out because of it, until Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai allowed them to come out of the caves, with an iron fist and take over the world, right? They was let loose after 1,000 years, right? Moving on. It says, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth, and it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me, right? So he was afraid that this mark will make him a target. And this is one of the things that we see out there in the land called Africa, right? This is East Africa, by the way. It says here, and Yahweh Shem Yahushai said unto him, therefore whoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold, right? Because I believe it's in the book of Romans 13, where it says that, you know, Yahweh Shem Yahushai is the one that gives the authorities power, right? The kings of the earth power, you know, and going against these kings and regulations, it'll be as if you're going against Yahweh Shem Yahushai himself. So that's what was said, you know what I'm saying? Like, if anybody took vengeance on Cain, then, you know, you will, because he had to come back, you know, eventually and rule, man, because that was his predestination, right? So if anybody got in the way of that, will be destroyed, right? Because he had to fulfill prophecy. It says, verse 15, and Yahweh Shem Yahushai said unto him, therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And Yahweh Shem Yahushai set a mark upon Cain, lest any man find him should kill him, right? Now let's look into what the mark sort of looks like, right? You know, because we see a couple of I see a couple of examples in the scriptures when Moses put his hand in his bosom and it came back to him leprous as snow, right? And I believe his wife had the same issue. I believe it was his wife. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm not gonna get too deep into that. I want to stick to Esau, right? So this is Leviticus chapter 13. And start at verse 30. Right, straight to the point. It says here, well, let's start at 29. If any man or a woman have a plague upon the head or the beard, right? So it's talking about hair on the head, hair on the face, facial hair, hair in the body. It says, then the priest shall see the plague, and behold, if it be in the sight deeper than the skin, and there shall be in it a yellow thin hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a dry scald, even a leprosy upon the head or the beard. Right? So it goes into also skin color as well. Right? These are markers and indicators of Esau, Edom, right? And they was driven out, man, right? Because they were vile, man. They were just without, you know. It's almost like they didn't have a soul, man. Like they were just nasty people, man, in and out and throughout. And this is why they was driven out. You know, a lot of times till this day, right? If an albino walks through the land of Africa in some villages, the people will be scared, right? They would consider him either a demon or a ghost or something like that, right? There was a movie called Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, where when he went to Africa and they saw him, you know, they were spooked out. You know, they were saying white devil, white devil. You know, that was a funny movie, man, but it was a good example. It was a good example. Right, and I want to show you, right, in Job chapter 30 and verse 1, it says, but now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Right, so Job didn't even want these people near his dogs. Right, and Job was a righteous man. See, it says, yeah, therefore, whereto might the strength of the hands profit me, in whom old age was perished, for want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness, in former times desolate and waste. Right? So like, yeah. For want and famine, they were solitary, right? So they didn't have much, man. There was, vagabonds, as the scripture has said, right? They had no food, they couldn't till the ground like that. They couldn't get no resources, so they was at the bottom of the bottom. It says, for want and famine, they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former times, desolate and waste, who cut up the mallows by the bushes and juniper's roots for their meat, right? So these people were eating basically Christmas trees, right? That's what junipers are. It says, they were driven forth from among men. They cried after them, after a thief. So when they see these people around, they will chase them out of villages and countries, right, and drive them far deep into the mountains. It says, to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in the caves of the earth, and in the rocks. Verse 7, and among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they gathered together. They were children of fools, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. See? This type of people they're dealing with, man. And these are fresh indicators, man, who Esau Edom is, man. For those who don't believe who Esau is today, or they believe that he's extinct, people like vocab, malone, are some examples of teaching that Esau Edom is no longer here. But we see examples of this to this day, right? And I just want to make this. I just wanted to make this quick video on this topic, man. I pray that y'all was edified, and on to the next one. Shalom.